You know, you can find us right here to keep you updated, and we're kind of losing one, right? Umberto's just about gone, it is really, and Imelda is the other one, and that one's bearing down on Bermuda tonight. Tonight they will have to deal with it. It's going to be very close to a landfall there. Either way, they will have to deal with it. In fact, I'll explain, but they want a direct landfall at this point, because if they don't, they will get the eye wall more than they will get even the eye. And you'd rather be in the eye than you want to be in the eye wall. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. But take a look at the big picture now, and you can see where they are. Really, what's left of Umberto is somewhere up in here, all right? It's falling apart. There's Imelda. You can see where it is right now. You can see we'll go back about 12 hours on this loop. And unfortunately, Bermuda is right there where the M is. Okay, so that's where we are watching our attention tonight. Winds right now are 100 miles per hour, 100. And in fact, it's forecast to increase just a little bit. They're thinking 105 tonight, and that's as it's moving over Bermuda. All right, so we'll be moving over there in just a few hours. As a matter of fact, if you can see, the leading edge of the heavier convection is just offshore. Again, Bermuda is where the M is right there. Pressure's 971. The good news is moving at 24 miles per hour, and that continues to speed up. That's the 8 o'clock number. That's more than 5 o'clock. That's more than 2 o'clock. So what that means is it limits the amount of time that they'll get this heavy weather moving through the area. The eye is not as proliferate. It doesn't look as much like it did before, basically, right? It had a little bit of an eye. It's trying to get organized, but it's in a lot of wind now, and that's going to make it tough. And really, at this point, it's not going to make much of a difference either way. Now, I was talking about it technically if it makes landfall right over top of it, so this center line ends up right over there, then it is technically a landfall. If it goes just to the south, it might just go a little bit to the south, then technically if the center does not go over Bermuda, it's not a landfall. All right, but that's not going to make a difference because you're going to get the wind either way. If it goes right over, then you're going to see the higher winds. Let me show you this. Say this is the ground. Let me clear all this out. I was looking at a chart for the wind. So here's 0, okay? Here's what the winds were going to do at Bermuda. They're going to come up and then drop right down in the middle of the eye and then come right back up and then slowly come back down. That's if the center of this goes over top of St. George, okay, Pembroke. They're in Bermuda, all right? If the center doesn't go, you don't get this gap, this dip in the wind. You get this, and you keep this. And so it would do something more like, oh, here comes the wind stays up, and then it slowly comes back down, right? So pick your poison, however you want to have it. I think they would be better off if they get a direct hit. We'll see exactly what it looks like. Now, this is the latest track from the Hurricane Center, and they have it at 105 late tonight and early tomorrow morning as it moves by. They have hurricane warnings, as you can imagine, in effect for Bermuda. By tomorrow morning sunrise for them, conditions are improving and will continue to improve throughout the day as this moves further away. And in fact, you can see by 3 o'clock, it's well to the east-northeast of Bermuda and turning out to sea as we move through Saturday and into Sunday. Now, the water's plenty of warm there, all right? 80-degree water plus is what you need. It's plenty warm. That's why it's still strengthening. But you see it does start to cool a little bit off to the north and the east of Bermuda. And of course, that's where it's headed, and that's why you see it really start to fall apart as it moves over those cooler waters. 80-plus degrees is kind of the minimum that it needs to give it enough energy to sustain the tropical nature of it, all right? So, meanwhile, while I got you here, it's been, you know, it's cooled a little bit. It's not cooling down that much, but the water's still warm. Look at all this warm water here in the Gulf, the Bahamas, the Western Caribbean, which we really want to watch, the Western Gulf as well, Southwestern Gulf. Last year, October 9th, we had Milton. Milton's did something like this, okay? So that's plenty of warm water. This year, that was October 9th. This year, October 9th doesn't look like that, thank goodness, but we may be watching for some development in here trying to head out to the north and the east. While we're here, and in fact, let's go back to the satellite picture here, because I want to show you what it looked like earlier today in Bermuda. This is what it looks like right now. You can see the storm approaching it. But earlier you can see there were just some higher clouds pushing through the area. Not even much in the way of sprinkles. Take a look at this video. It's just so beautiful there in Bermuda. I haven't been there yet, trying to get there. But the video shows some breezes that were there and some large waves. Obviously, the waves coming out ahead of it. And that's something they will definitely deal with. But I just checked the numbers there, and they've got winds at about 28 miles per hour with gusts in the 40s. All right, and that's well ahead of the main portion. So certainly could see gusts close to about 100 miles per hour. I wouldn't be surprised if that's it. I would imagine, even though the highest winds are about 105, that's usually in a really small area around the center. So what you're seeing right there is really winds in the 20s with gusts in the 40s. All right, and it's going to get a lot more than that as they go through tonight. In fact, I think we have a live picture. This is from EarthCam out at Pembroke, Bermuda, and the camera moves around and it's dark out there. It's really tough to see anything right now, but I've seen a little bit. You can see it there. I mean, obviously the island has power. That's not an issue at this point. Probably going to have some power issues late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Waking up tomorrow morning with a lot of folks probably without power, depending on how the storm goes for tonight. But what you don't see right now is a whole bunch of rain. All right, you can see across the water right there. And as they zoom all in, you can see the visibility is actually pretty good. It's not a bunch of rain in there just yet. But that's just hours away, and so it will be pushing in just about 2 to 3 hours as we move through tonight. By the way, time-wise, Bermuda is 1 hour ahead of the East Coast of our time. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about the tropics. Let's go over to Umberto. There's not a lot left with Umberto. And in fact, there's really nothing organized with it at this point. It finally fell apart. It does not look like it's going to merge or Fujiwara effect or anything like that with Imelda. You can see this is what's left of it. There it is there, kind of in there, and that's really just about it. I mean, there's some extended moisture that you see here right at the last thing. You see all that? But that's nothing to worry about there. Now, we do have one last little track with this. They're calling it the remnants of Umberto, and they're saying it's well to the northeast of Bermuda. Here's Bermuda again with the M, and that's where it'll be right now, essentially, right? And I just showed you there's not much to it. Moving to the east-northeast at 23 miles per hour, and the wind's around 70, but it's kind of gone. Now, the wind. So, obviously, the tropical system, Imelda, we've got winds around the center here, the highest winds, 100, 105 in one small little spot there, right? There, see this blue H? It's kind of hidden behind the banner here. All right, that is a high pressure. This is obviously the low pressure. And these white lines that you see here, those thick white lines, those are equal lines of pressure. So, for instance, if you see this circle here, everything in there has a pressure of about 971 millibars. You go out a little bit, and it's about 972 to 976. And you go out a little bit more, it's 977 to 993, right? So you get the idea. You just put circles around where that pressure is. Well, when you have a high here and a low here, you get what's called a pressure gradient. You see how close these lines are together? When you see that, that gives you a lot of wind. And that's what's happening right in here, all the way to the east coast of Florida, right? Down the Outer Banks. Northeast winds. And in fact, watch this. As we move through the overnight hours here tonight, look where this is. This is way up here, moving into the northeast eventually during the day on Thursday. This is 2 o'clock. But still, the pressure gradient here has winds coming here, and we do have some relatively lower pressures down south. So this wind stays up. We get a little breezy here overnight tonight. You can see the blue, and don't worry, I'll zoom in on this coming up here in a little bit. But I want to kind of big picture it for you. And then as we move into Friday, see the blue here over the state of Florida? Well, that's pretty breezy, 15, 25 mile per hour winds, maybe some gusts higher than that, out of the east, northeast. And then as we move into Saturday, a little bit more of an easterly wind, but still breezy. All right, and there's the high up to our north. That's the reason for it. See, we've got the high here and a lower. We don't have a low here. We have a weak low trying to develop here. But it's the difference between that and this low here that's doing that. Now, some of the models are trying to develop a weak low and take it in towards New Orleans, maybe in towards Texas. It would be just mainly a rainmaker is what it looks like. But that's not a concern at this point. You see by Sunday, this is 4 o'clock, things are looking a little bit better, a little less wind. I say better, but I tell you what, for Tampa, it's going to feel really nice to have a nice breeze. But for the Carolinas, especially South Carolina, Georgia, and Northeast Florida, it's been breezy all week. All right, they've had waves, rip currents, erosion going, especially the further north you go. You get, say, Brevard County southward, it hasn't been terrible. Lots of waves. Surfers are loving it, especially today. It wasn't that windy. But the winds are going to stay on it, especially the further north you go, through Wednesday. So that's almost a week and 3 days for many parts of South Carolina and Georgia, even parts of northeastern Florida with the wind right there. So that will come here. Obviously, that's going to build a little bit of swell. When we come back, I'll show you where that swell is expected, how long it will last, and we'll talk local forecast here in Tampa Bay. Weather impacts your life every day. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. You can find out about any change in the weather with our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app. Just stream for the latest forecast, any weather impact alert, updated tropics forecast, and take a live look at the radar. Anytime you want, and it's free. It's just one more way we're helping you stay informed, prepared, and connected. Stream 10 Tampa Bay Plus.
Jeopardy is for everybody.
That's amazing. Oh, yeah.
With players just like you.
Paramedic, retired teacher, psychiatrist.
I'm a little bit competitive.
That's the spirit.
Watch their victories.
We have a giant killer.
And heartbreaks.
Oh, no.
The next super champion could be anyone.
It's almost like a superhero origin story.
It could be you.
Oh, wow.
It's all happening on Jeopardy!
Jeopardy weeknights at 7:30 right here on 10 Tampa Bay.
I was driving when an 18-wheeler turned in front of me. I locked up my brakes, bam, slid dead into the truck. Bloody and hurt, I was loaded into an ambulance, and that's when I put out my phone and called attorney Dan Newton. Dan jumped right on it. He was in my corner the whole way. He fought the fight from beginning to end and got me $1 million.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Dan, your awesome team deserves 6 stars. Thank you for winning my case.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Secure outdoor equipment and generators. Clear debris from around your AC unit and schedule a pre-storm HVAC and electrical inspection.
Those are some great tips, and Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk about some of that surf. Now, it's not for us. We do not have rip current issues, but we will have that breeze Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We will have to watch the Skyway Bridge, believe it or not, because the bridge is so elevated. They're going to be gusts easily in the 30s at the top of the bridge, and that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But over on the East Coast, with all of these storms, Umberto, that's fallen apart, but it generated swell that's still out there. And obviously Imelda, that's Cat 2, 100 going to 105, that's still generating swell. Plus the winds, with the difference between the high pressure and the storms, that's going to generate some swell. So it's going to be a mess over there. Surfers are going to love it if they can get enough winds to blow offshore to clean it up a little bit, but that's going to be tough, especially in Northeast Florida. So watch the wave heights. Now, what you're seeing here, the colors, let's go out through tomorrow afternoon. Well, let me back up here first. You see the storm out there on the right-hand side, okay? You see where it's generating all the swell? That is actually working its way westward. You see that? I know it looks kind of weird there, but it started here and it's propagating off in this direction, right? And even to the south. That's how this works. The arrows, these wind arrows that you see here, see all of that? That's the surface wind, and I put that on there because we've got two different things going on. We had the tropical system, right, Imelda, make this swell, and you see here in the green, but this wind here is generating this swell that pushes down here towards Northeast Florida. I mean, 10-foot seas off of Cocoa Beach. Surfers loving it, but it's an onshore wind, so it's pretty choppy. In fact, today wasn't bad. The pictures from over there today look pretty fun, to be honest with you. Even Wrightsville Beach was up there, but the winds will start to pick up tonight and tomorrow and will stay that way. So let's go through Friday afternoon. The larger swells are starting to come back, but still, we're talking in the surf zone here, generally in that 4 to 10 foot range. I know these numbers are coming down here, but there's going to be much more here along the immediate coast just because of the wind arrows. You see that? So that's Friday. Then we go into Saturday. Same thing. Then as we get into Sunday, it's going to pick back up with more wind here along the Carolinas. So and see the more swell developing up here. This is actually smaller. That's more, right? Now look here along our coast. It's flat right off of our beaches, but you're not going to have to go far before it actually gets bumpy offshore. We have small craft advisories here in the Tampa Bay area Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Although Sunday might come down, but it's expected to stay breezy all the way through Saturday night, all right? And then Sunday gets a little bit better. Now, we talked about this yesterday. Here's where we look for the typical activity in May. Season starts June 1st, but we still watched in May because the Gulf is warming up by that time, the Western Caribbean, right? And those are storms that can come up and come at us, right? So we really, anything in the Western Caribbean and in the Gulf, we really have to watch. Now, in June, that's what we're looking for. And a lot of times what you'll see in June is something like this. Comes up here, comes up over us, comes up to our south or something. But you're going to get something like that. And then, yeah, even Texas watches it. Now, as we move into July, we open up the Caribbean more here. You see this? The Eastern Caribbean, come all the way across. Tracks can cross over Puerto Rico, come up through the Bahamas. Imelda, anyone? Right? And then as we get into August, now we start, this is when the activity really, after August 1st, the activity really starts to get going. All right, July is just kind of like, August starts going uphill. All right, so the water's warmer at this point. You still are watching the Gulf, still watching all of the Caribbean, but we're also starting to watch out into the Atlantic more. All right, and then also these recurves. Then we get to September, the statistical peak of the hurricane season. And look, I mean, that just lights up, right? Look at all the opportunity to develop and look how far out to the east. Now, we're October 1st now, but I will say some of the models are trying to pop up something here and then maybe recurve it again as we get about a week out. Okay, so we'll be watching some waves that come off of Africa, see what they want to do here. Right now, most of the models see something, including the AI models, but most of them recurve it similar to this. Okay, so nothing to worry about right now. The Hurricane Center doesn't have anything hatched. But here we are in October. And now look what happens. We're not looking out here as much, although I just said we're going to watch something right here, try and recurve. But as the month wears on, we start looking right back here, right back towards the Gulf, towards the Western Caribbean, the Bahamas, and just off of our coast. Now, this graphic's been made for years. We just updated the banners every now and then, right? But we just had a system do this. Kind of comes across, goes up, and then comes out. All right? You know, I always say that the weather patterns tend to repeat themselves, especially every week and a half, 2 weeks apart. Okay? Some of the models are saying something pops up right here and does something like that. These are the areas that this time of the year we look. We get these cold fronts that come through here, right? You got a cold front coming through. You got the high pressure sitting back behind it. And then whatever develops here, because one of the thing is, Joe Bastardi says, he sings that song like a bridge over troubled water. But he says like a ridge is what we call these high pressures up here over troubled water. So when you get a high pressure sitting over here, you look underneath, and that's the Gulf and the Western Caribbean and the Bahamas, right? And so that's a really typical area that we look for development. And even the European model and even the GFS a little bit is saying that maybe we get something here that heads out. Hopefully that would be the case if that happens. So anyways, that's where we start looking. Once we get, my rule is get past Halloween, and for the most part we're good. The season goes through the 30th of November, right? But Halloween, once we get there, we start getting cooler and cooler, and it knocks the water temperatures down, and so that makes it a little bit better for us. But notice in November, we still have some warmer water sitting out here, and so we still look for some areas. Now, what are we looking at for the upcoming couple weeks? Well, this week, again, the Hurricane Center doesn't have anything hatched. We are going to be watching for that wave that's coming off of Africa. Let me get this back here, and here. And this is kind of what this is saying. All right, October 8th through the 14th. This is probably closer to the 8th, because that's the end of this upcoming week. Might get something doing this. Now, look what happens when we look beyond that. Now we're looking over here in the Western Caribbean, and this is what's called the Central American Gyre. And so what happens is basically like this big kind of low pressure that sits over here. All right, now when we look at these thunderstorms coming off of Africa, we call those kind of the seeds for tropical systems. This Central American Gyre with the low pressure right there, that's making seeds. And then when you get high pressures to develop over top of it, what do? We look underneath, and there you go. You get something here, it spits something off this way, spits something off that way, whatever it's going to do, right? We're thinking it probably goes more off towards the west or west-northwest than anything else, but it is an area that we're going to be watching. And this takes us out through the 21st of October, so we're looking a little far in advance. All right, coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about mile-per-hour winds. You're actually going to notice overnight tonight that the breeze starts to pick up just a little bit. Tomorrow morning, get up early. It's going to be a nice morning with the breeze, and I think Friday and Saturday morning will be the same. We'll talk about that right after this break. Weather impacts your life every day. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. You can find out about any change in the weather with our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app. Just stream for the latest forecast, any weather impact alert, updated tropics forecast, and take a live look at the radar. Anytime you want, and it's free. It's just one more way we're helping you stay informed, prepared, and connected. Stream 10 Tampa Bay Plus.
Jeopardy is for everybody,
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
with players just like you.
Paramedic, a retired teacher, psychiatrist.
I'm a little bit competitive.
That's the spirit.
Watch their victories
We have a giant killer.
and heartbreaks.
Oh no!
The next super champion could be anyone.
It's almost like a superhero origin story.
It could be you.
Oh wow.
It's all happening on Jeopardy!
Jeopardy weeknights at 7:30 right here on 10 Tampa Bay.
I was driving when an 18-wheeler turned in front of me. I locked up my brakes, bam, slid dead into the truck. Bloody and hurt, I was loaded into an ambulance, and that's when I put out my phone and called attorney Dan Newton. Dan jumped right on it. He was in my corner the whole way. He fought the fight from beginning to end and got me $1 million.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Dan, your awesome team deserves 6 stars. Thank you for winning my case.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Secure outdoor equipment and generators. Clear debris from around your AC unit and schedule a pre-storm HVAC and electrical inspection.
Those are some great tips. And Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40 today.
Okay, we got a few minutes left here. Let's talk local forecast, all right? Now, we had a couple showers out there today, but the live look at the radar right now doesn't show a whole lot, and I don't expect a whole lot overnight tonight. But if you look out to the east, we still have some showers coming in off the Gulf. So, off the Atlantic, excuse me. The Gulf's on the left, and the Atlantic on the right. When we pick up this wind, we will pick up a few more of these showers, and they can, because the wind's picking up, they will make it all the way over here. So our rain chances will go up a little bit, but they'll be small, quick downpours that blow in and blow out. Now let's talk about the wind. Let's go through tonight. This is 11:30, almost midnight tonight. Look at that. The blue number is the gust. The white number is the steady wind. 7 miles per hour in Tampa, 14 mile per hour gust around midnight tonight. Look at the beach. Yeah, it's picking up. It's going to be windy. Well, I don't want to say windy, but it's definitely going to be breezy overnight. And then tomorrow morning, again, a nice breeze in the morning, not a whole lot. Look at the afternoon, though. Yeah, that's going to pick up. We're talking gusts. Look at these gusts in the mid-20s. Sustained winds in the teens. Bradenton, Sarasota. That's a breezy day right there. 17 and frostproof with gusts in the mid-20s. Still a little bit of a breeze at least Thursday night. In the evening hours and the overnight, we do see a little less wind, but it doesn't go calm at all. And that's Friday morning. Look at Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, in fact, let me back this up. We're going to see even more. Look at that, 16 mile per hour winds, gusts in the mid-20s. I think there'll be some upper 20s really on Friday, especially the Skyway we'll have to watch. That's Saturday afternoon, mid-morning I should say, around 10:30. Look at that. So it's definitely going to feel pretty good out there. At the same time, we're going to have dew points drop a little bit Thursday and Friday, so it's going to feel really good. These are the gusts, the forecast wind gusts for tomorrow. So you can see in the mid-20s, around 26 by Thursday afternoon. Friday, we're talking the same. Let me back up here a little bit. Now it's coming down just a little bit. There you go. That's Friday around midday, gusts to near 30. All right, and then Saturday, those wind gusts will go into the upper 20s to near 30. But then you notice we get into Sunday, most of that wind goes up to the north. You see how it's pushing up in North Florida, up into Georgia, and we have less wind altogether. So nice little breeze out there over the next several days. It's going to feel good. We do have a few shower chances out there. You can see what we're looking at right now. This is tomorrow morning. It will start dry, but watch as we move through the afternoon. You got to watch quick. Watch central Polk County, central Hillsborough into Pinellas. See that? See that kind of darting across right there? This area here just kind of darts across pretty quickly. That's around 2:30 in the afternoon. So that is a 40 to almost 50% rain chance. But it doesn't seem, but it's not going to rain all day by any means, right? It's just going to be a passing shower. So don't cancel any plans, but just know that we will have some showers around. This is Thursday evening. The rain will dry up a little bit. East Coast will keep a few showers, especially in the morning. That's 7:30 tomorrow, Friday morning, excuse me. But then we get it in the afternoon hours. And look at Friday. Friday is definitely a better coverage, 40 to 50% on Friday and Saturday as well. I mean, the East Coast is going to get a little bit more rain. That's Friday night. And you can see the coverage here, a solid 50% on Saturday, with what basically I just showed you coming across, and then Friday's not much less than that. So again, it's not a rain out through this period, but it will have some shower activity and a nice breeze to go along with it. The overnight hours will go down into the low to mid 70s to wake up. Tampa's a little bit warmer at 75. I think high temperatures stay in the upper 80s, right around 87, 88 degrees over the next several days. So look at tomorrow. You've got plenty of info here, right? You've got your highs somewhere around 87 to 88. We've got the winds down there at the bottom. Those winds are the steady winds, the sustained wind. And so that's getting a little bit